Stacy, there are, reports out there that it's OpenAI that's working with Broadcom to develop a custom AI chip. What do you see as the implications of that?
Yeah, by the way, it's been speculated that it's OpenAI. It's plausible. Whoever this is moving very, very quickly. Seems to sort of fit with their persona. No, this is really important. You have to remember, Broadcom had 3 customers that were shipping these AI chips. It was Google and Meta and ByteDance. They had 4 others that were prospects. So one of those prospects, this one, is now converted into a customer. And it is a tremendous amount of revenue. They said $10 billion next year, which is a very fast ramp relative to anything we've seen before. And they're implicitly guiding, effectively their AI revenues next year well over $40 billion. It was like $30 billion as of last quarter. And I don't know that it stops in 26 either. They sounded fairly positive that it would continue into the years beyond. And so, frankly, it starts to remind me a little bit of the revenue ramp we started to see for NVIDIA like several years ago when this really started to kick off. And if you think that those numbers are anywhere plausible, all of a sudden, the earnings power of this company starts to go up very, very strongly. And, the stock has been fairly expensive, but, it starts to realize maybe it's not as expensive if you actually think the earnings prospects are as strong as maybe they are suggesting. And so I'm actually not surprised that it's up as much as it is today. And I don't know that the story at this point is done.
Yeah. And on the flip side, you've got NVIDIA down potentially a bit on this idea of diversification of the supply chain. Stacy, I'm just curious whether you think NVIDIA has some real competition and whether its share is seriously threatened at this point.
Look, so the whole GPU versus ASIC debate goes back and forth, right? And right now the narrative, at least today, is clearly shifting toward Broadcom. They do go back and forth. I actually don't think that the right question right now is necessarily who's winning or losing. I actually think that personally the question is better off to be put, is the opportunity in front of us still large or is it not? Right? I think ASICs will take share. They're coming from a smaller base. I don't think they dominate. And I think if the opportunity in front of us is still big, if we're still early in this, as I think we are, I think they can both thrive. Because think about it this way. If the opportunity in front of us is not still big, they're both screwed. Right?
Right.
So that's the right question right now. I think not as much who is winning or losing. But in the heat of the moment, clearly that narrative today is going to shift more toward Broadcom. We're in that phase of the cycle.
Well, let's ask Bill that question about the rising tide lifting all boats and potentially the tide washing out there. Bill, you're a shareholder of both NVIDIA and Broadcom. What do you do with today's developments?
I don't think that they're going to compete against each other and one would harm the other. I think that what you're seeing here is the multiple, the high multiple in Broadcom. You're paying for this flexibility. They helped Google or Alphabet ramp up the TPU. And now, although that relationship has changed, the flexibility here in helping OpenAI potentially ramp up what could be the XPU, an inference chip. And I think that pivot allows, takes some pressure off the lack of GPU chips that are on demand for NVIDIA. Now, we don't look at this as there's a one winner. We own both. Although currently we're a little underweight NVIDIA to the S&P, and we're quite a bit overweight Broadcom to the S&P. I think there's a lot of runway here, and I do agree with Stacy that this does remind me of what we saw in 23, where the revenue growth, the ramp up that's coming next year in 2026 for Broadcom. It reminds me of NVIDIA. We're seeing 60% revenue increase forecast for 26, but let's not forget you have the software infrastructure, and that's still nearly a 50% revenue forecast increase too. So you got the diversified revenue streams, and we love Broadcom. I'm a little patient here. We wouldn't be chasing it. I do want to increase. We trimmed it recently just because we were so overweight. I would be looking for a pullback, somewhere, at least the 315, 312 area, but we could get a move to 300 if the broader market kind of softens a bit.
Concerns about escalating rivalry in the artificial intelligence hardware industry were stoked when rival Broadcom disclosed a major agreement with OpenAI, causing shares of the leading graphics chip creator NVIDIA drop 2.9% in the afternoon session. In an effort to reduce costs and improve AI performance, prominent tech companies are increasingly creating their own processors, as evidenced by Broadcom's announcement of a $10 billion custom chip contract with OpenAI. Amazon, Meta Platforms, and Alphabet are also pursuing this approach. The move led HSBC analysts to warn that by 2026, the market for custom silicon would grow more quickly than NVIDIA's general-purpose GPU division. News can cause the stock market to overreact, and significant price declines can offer excellent chances to purchase premium equities. Is it time to purchase NVIDIA? Over the past year, NVIDIA's shares have had 19 swings of more than 5%, making them extremely volatile. In light of that, today's action suggests that while the market views this news as significant, it is not enough to drastically alter its opinion of the company. The last significant move we discussed came 7 days ago, when the stock fell 3.3%, as investors kept locking in profits after the company's most recent earnings report fell short of the market's greatest expectations. Investors responded to a quarterly report that, although impressive, indicated decreasing progress, which caused the decline to continue from the previous session. A little miss in data center revenue and a Q3 prediction that only met consensus estimates let down those expecting a bigger beat, even though NVIDIA exceeded overall Q2 earnings and revenue projections. Markets frequently penalize highly valued companies for even a small slowdown in growth. A poor prediction from rival chipmaker Marvell Technology increased the strain and dampened confidence in the semiconductor industry. With a 20.8% increase since the start of the year, NVIDIA is trading near its 52-week high of $183.10 per share from August 2025 at $167.10 per share. Investors would now be looking at an investment worth $14,025 if they had purchased $1,000 worth of NVIDIA shares 5 years prior. If you haven't been living under a rock, you should already be aware that generative AI will significantly alter the way big businesses operate. We favor a lesser-known but nevertheless lucrative semiconductor stock that is profiting from the development of artificial intelligence, even if NVIDIA and AMD are trading near all-time highs. The optimistic narrative surrounding artificial intelligence has contributed to an unprecedented increase in NVIDIA's stock price. In comparison to its previous peaks, the stock's valuation multiples appear to be acceptable. According to a recent statement from NVIDIA's management, they also believe the stock is a great investment. The semiconductor giant NVIDIA has profited more than any other firm from the artificial intelligence AI boom. If you had invested in the chip maker on the day that ChatGPT launched November 30, 2022 and held on, your stake today would be worth roughly 10 times as much. A large portion of the hundreds of billions of dollars that tech behemoths like Microsoft, Alphabet, Meta Platforms, Amazon, and Oracle have invested in their AI-related infrastructure over the past few years has gone toward outfitting data centers with NVIDIA's cutting-edge chips. NVIDIA's market worth has increased from approximately $345 billion at the start of the AI revolution to over $4 trillion today due to this extraordinary demand. It's normal to question whether the best days for NVIDIA stock are already behind us after gains of this size. How, after all, could a stock that has risen so sharply continue to rise? However, NVIDIA's management has taken action to maintain the stock's trajectory with a $60 billion commitment, just as doubters are starting to call a top. In my opinion, the question is not whether NVIDIA has reached its zenith, but rather if the most valuable company in the world is only beginning its journey. Is the stock of NVIDIA overpriced? NVIDIA is currently trading much below the peak it reached in the early days of the AI boom and in line with its 3-year average price-to-sales (PS) ratio. Therefore, NVIDIA's stock can seem cheap in comparison to its previous levels of AI frenzy. The so-called discount is relative, though. Many high-flying equities peaked at PS multiples in the 30 to 40 range during the dot-com boom of the late 1990s. NVIDIA's price-to-earnings (PE) ratio appears to be significantly discounted to both its historical average and its recent high levels at first view. It's important to note that NVIDIA's profitability has increased dramatically as a result of the AI trend. This indicates that its PE ratio's denominator, earnings, has significantly increased. That is, rather than investors suddenly valuing the company at a less aggressive growth multiple, NVIDIA's current PE of 49 reflects normalized profitability. NVIDIA's valuation is demanding on a strict basis. However, management's most recent disclosure can provide some guidance for investors attempting to ascertain whether the shares are actually overpriced. NVIDIA paid $24.2 billion to buy back 193 million shares of its ordinary stock in the first half of the year. Furthermore, management made an even more startling announcement during its second quarter earnings call in late August. the board of directors authorized a further $60 billion stock buyback program. Many times, these buybacks are seen as a vote of confidence. They usually indicate that management thinks repurchasing a company's own shares is one of the finest uses of capital and that cash flows are sustainable. However, there might be a deeper strategic element at work in NVIDIA's situation. Large language models, LLMs, and other generative AI tools have been trained on NVIDIA's chips for the majority of the past few years, which has been the foundation of the company's growth story. But in the future, the true benefits will come from their application in more sophisticated fields like autonomous systems, robots, and quantum computing, all of which have the potential to be trillion-dollar markets. More processing power will be needed for these use cases, which probably means NVIDIA's next-generation chip designs. Although Rubin, the company's replacement for Blackwell, is anticipated to launch next year, timing will be crucial in NVIDIA's next big surge. Before these new advanced use cases generate enough sales to significantly alter NVIDIA's profitability profile, it might take 5 to 10 years. The company's expansion will probably continue in the interim, albeit more slowly. The latest stock repurchase scheme appears especially astute because of this. NVIDIA can support its earnings per share, EPS growth, during this transitory stage of the AI story by rapidly lowering the number of outstanding shares over the coming years. The new buyback program essentially serves as a bridge, maintaining EPS momentum in the short term while the AI era's infrastructural wave grows in the backdrop. All things considered, NVIDIA is well positioned to profit from the secular tailwinds of hyperscalers' investments in AI infrastructure. In addition, the company's capacity to repurchase stock demonstrates the strength of its cash flow, management's dedication to rewarding shareholders, and the company's belief that the price of its stock is still fair. When combined, these factors highlight why I believe NVIDIA presents a strong buy and hold opportunity. The stock is still an obvious choice in the AI space because of its strategic roadmap's emphasis on shareholder-friendly capital allocation and fundamental growth drivers. China's AI supply chain is experiencing a new momentum change that could be problematic for NVIDIA in the long run. CamberCon just reported record profits, Alibaba is currently testing domestic accelerators, and DeepSeek, a startup, is already using Huawei gear to train its models. Beijing, meanwhile, has not expressed any desire to allow NVIDIA's H20 processors to acquire popularity again. What is the subtext? It's possible that China's tech sector is shedding its dependency on imported silicon. What used to be a talking point for policy is now a reality for the market. To be clear, the high end is still dominated by NVIDIA. This year, the corporation shipped almost 1 million units of H20 to China, which may have been front-loaded prior to additional U.S. restrictions. Local businesses, however, are quickly adapting on the ground. According to analysts, Huawei may create up to 200,000 advanced chips in 2025, while CamberCon is anticipated to ship 143,000 chips in 2024. Businesses are becoming proficient in running models on legacy hardware, enabling them to satisfy domestic demand. For President Xi's AI Plus strategy, which prioritizes widespread deployment over benchmark supremacy, that might be sufficient. CamberCon warned investors about ongoing supply chain issues and stated that its stock has probably decoupled from its existing fundamentals. Washington is the big unknown. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang raised the prospect that the U.S. would permit sales of its forthcoming Blackwell chips into China during the company's most recent earnings call. This would significantly increase the stakes. If made available, these GPUs could entice Chinese consumers back because they outperform both H20 and their domestic counterparts. However, the tone has changed for the time being. NVIDIA's long-term dominance in the Chinese AI market appears less secure than ever in light of penalties, governmental nudges, and new domestic competitors. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.
Obviously, we are seeing the market up higher, up about 0.4% for the S&P 500. If you're kind of looking at the mix, we have about 70% of the stocks in the green right now. A lot of the cyclical stocks, if you look at industrials, a really nice power candles to the upside to start off the day, as well as other sectors. Information technology did catch a little bit of a bid. That's the one I'm actually focusing on here, though, Sam, moving forward, at least for today. If you look at the semiconductor space, you are seeing a massive rotation taking place right now. NVIDIA trading at around $166 right now, down about 2.7%. And you also have AMD getting completely crushed, down almost 5% in the session, as we do have Broadcom getting some gains. So if you look at the semiconductor index, the SOX is up 1.7%, but just kind of notable that the semiconductor names that have been leading the way are now starting to see a little bit of weakness here, and that's going to be interesting on the weekly chart. But going in to the S&P 500 levels, at least for today, 65.50 to the upside is going to be the first area of resistance that I'm going to be focusing on. We're about 20 points away from there at this point in time. If we continue to see this squeeze, we continue to see this rotation, and it's an aggressive rotation to the upside, I'm actually looking at 65.75 as the big area of resistance, at least for today. Any breakdown, you'd like to see some support at that blue line. That 200 period moving average on the 15-minute chart has been a key area of resistance that has turned into support. You'd like to see some buyers stepping in. I have 64.50 to the downside as your first major area of support here. Once again, very interesting economic data. The market does like it right now. Let's see if that's going to be able to hold because obviously, once again, we are seeing some rotation and some pretty heavy names that have been leading the way for the last year or so. And maybe this is something that's temporary, or maybe we do see maybe some new leadership changing here where Broadcom starts to pick up the slack here for the semiconductor space as a whole. And that could actually continue to bring us higher here.